They sent her as an insult. To a man who doesn't forgive disrespect. That was their first mistake, because the moment she walked into that room, he didn't look at her the way they expected. He looked at everyone else and said 2 words, "Get out." Not her, them. And in that moment, everything changed. Her name was Valentina Romano, and she knew exactly why her uncle was sending her to negotiate with the Caruso family. Punishment, not for anything she'd done, for existing in a body they found embarrassing. "The Carusos want to discuss port territory," Uncle Marco said, not looking at her. "You're going." "Me?" She stared at him. "I don't know anything about territory negotiation." "You don't need to," he smiled, cruel. "Just show up. Look." He gestured vaguely at her. "Like yourself." She understood then. She wasn't a negotiator. She was an insult. "Here's what we think of your request, Caruso. Here's how little we respect you." She could have refused. Should have. But refusing meant confirming everything they already believed, that she was useless, weak, not really family. So she went, wore her best dress, did her makeup, held her head high. Whatever happened, she wouldn't give them the satisfaction of seeing her break. The Caruso estate was everything she'd heard. Old money, real power, marble and muscle, and the kind of wealth that didn't need to announce itself. She was escorted through halls by men in expensive suits who looked at her with barely concealed contempt. She kept walking, into the meeting room where Dante Caruso waited. He was standing by the window. Tall, dark suit, hands in his pockets, looking at the city like he owned it. He turned when she entered. Dark eyes, sharp jaw, the kind of face that belonged on Roman coins, all power and absolute control. He looked at her for exactly 3 seconds, then at the men who'd escorted her. One of them was smirking. "This is the Romano negotiator?" Dante's voice was cold, flat. "Apparently," the smirking man said. "Where's Marco?" "He sent her instead." Valentina watched Dante's expression change. Not anger, something colder, more dangerous. "Get out." The smirking man blinked. "Sir?" "I said, get out." Dante's voice dropped to something deadly quiet. "All of you, now." They left, fast. The door closed. Valentina was alone with Dante Caruso, and the silence was deafening. He didn't speak immediately, just looked at her with those dark, unreadable eyes. She lifted her chin, met his gaze. If he was going to humiliate her, she'd make him work for it. "Your name," he said finally. "Valentina Romano. And Marco sent you to negotiate port territory." It wasn't a question. "No." Her voice was steady. "Marco sent me to insult you. I'm the joke, Mr. Caruso. They think it's funny." Something flickered in his eyes. "Do you think it's funny?" "No." "Then why come?" She was quiet for a moment. "Because refusing would have confirmed everything they already think about me," she said quietly. "That I'm useless. That I don't belong. That I'm exactly what they sent me here to be. An embarrassment." The room was very quiet. Dante moved from the window, slowly, stopped a few feet from her. "Do you know what I see when I look at you, Valentina?" Her throat tightened. "I can imagine." "I doubt that." His voice was soft, dangerous. "I see a woman who walked into a room knowing she was being used as a weapon against her, who came anyway because she has more courage than the men who sent her." Her breath caught. "I see someone who's been underestimated her entire life by people too stupid to recognize intelligence when it's standing in front of them." He stepped closer. "And I see an opportunity." "For what?" His smile was cold, sharp. "To teach your family a very expensive lesson about respect." "Sit," he said. She sat. He remained standing, looking at her with that calculating expression. "Your family sent you as an insult. They expect me to send you back humiliated, threatened, put in your place. That's the idea. What if I didn't?" She blinked. "What? What if I made you my negotiator instead? gave you exactly what they sent you here to mock: real authority, real power. Her heart hammered. Why would you do that? Because your family underestimated both of us. You for obvious reasons. Me because they think I'm vain enough to be insulted by... He gestured at her. By what? A woman who exists in a body that doesn't conform to their limited preferences? He sat across from her. Here's my offer. You stay. You learn the business. You negotiate on my behalf. And you do it from a position of power they never intended you to have. They'll never accept. They will when I make it clear that insulting you is insulting me. His eyes held hers. And no one insults me twice. She stared at him. You want me to work for you? I want you to prove your family sent their smartest player as a punchline and didn't even realize it. You don't know if I'm smart. You told me the truth when you could have lied or played games. That's smarter than anything your uncles have done in years. She was quiet. What do you get out of this? Revenge. I don't like being disrespected. And I don't like watching someone be weaponized against themselves. He leaned forward. Learn from me. Become valuable in ways they can't dismiss. And in return, I'll make sure they never underestimate you again. She looked at this dangerous man, offering her something she'd never had. Respect. Okay, she said. Teach me. His smile was satisfied. Good. We start tomorrow, 6 a.m. The first 2 weeks were brutal. Not because the work was hard, though it was. Because Dante was cold, distant in a way that felt deliberate, clinical. He taught her port logistics, territory law, negotiation tactics, drilled her on numbers and protocols and the difference between a threat and a promise. But he never smiled, never offered praise, never gave her anything except corrections and new assignments. Again, he'd say when she stumbled through a practice negotiation. Faster when she read through contracts. Unacceptable when she missed a detail. She started to wonder if she'd imagined that first meeting. The way he'd cleared the room. The things he'd said about her courage. Maybe it had been manipulation. Maybe he just wanted to use her against her family and the rest was performance. One night, late, she found him in his office. Can I ask you something? He didn't look up from his work. Yes. Why are you doing this? I already told you. No. Why are you teaching me like you hate me? You said you saw intelligence, courage, but you treat me like I'm... She stopped. He looked up then. Like you're what? Like I'm disappointing you. Every day, no matter what I do. He set down his pen, stood, moved to the window with his back to her. You're not disappointing me. Then what? I'm testing you. He turned to face her. Everyone in your life has either coddled you out of pity or dismissed you out of contempt. Neither of those things prepared you for what you'll face when you walk into a room as my negotiator. He stepped closer, so I'm pushing you. Hard. Harder than I've pushed anyone. Because when you sit across from your uncles and deliver my terms, they will look for any weakness, any crack, any reason to dismiss you. His eyes held hers. And I need to know you won't break. She stared at him. You're testing if I'm strong enough. I'm testing if you believe you're strong enough. His voice was quiet. Because I already know you are. But you won't be able to convince them until you convince yourself. She closed the distance between them, stopped inches away. I won't break. Prove it. How? Walk out of here, come back tomorrow. Do the work even though I'm giving you nothing. His jaw tightened. Show me that you're doing this for you, not for my approval. Her throat burned. You're an asshole. I know. This is psychological warfare. Yes, I hate you right now. Something flickered in his eyes. Good. Use it. She turned to leave, stopped at the door. Dante? Yes. When this is over, when I've proven myself, you're going to apologize for this. His smile was slight, dangerous. If you succeed, I'll do more than apologize. She came back the next day, and the day after that, worked twice as hard, pushed herself until she could recite territory law in her sleep, until she could read a contract and spot weaknesses in seconds, until Dante ran out of corrections to give. 3 weeks in, she walked into a practice negotiation. He'd brought in one of his toughest lieutenants to play her Uncle Marco. The man was cruel, dismissive, called her names, questioned her intelligence. She didn't flinch, delivered terms with ice-cold precision, backed him into corners he didn't see coming, made him agree to things he didn't want to agree to. When it was over, the lieutenant looked at Dante. "She's better than half your actual negotiators." Dante's expression didn't change, but his eyes found Valentina's, and something in them shifted. "Again," he said, "but this time I'm playing Marco." He was brutal, meaner than the lieutenant, personal in his attacks, found every insecurity and pressed on it. She held her ground, didn't break, didn't waver, delivered his own terms back to him with modifications that actually improved the deal. When it was over, the room was silent. Dante stood, walked to her slowly, stopped so close she could feel the heat of him. "You're ready," he said quietly. Relief flooded through her. "Thank you." "Don't thank me yet." His hand lifted, almost touched her face, dropped. "Thank me when you've made them see what I see." "What do you see?" His eyes held hers. "A queen who forgot her crown. I'm just reminding you where you left it." She walked into the meeting with her uncles 3 days later, not as a joke, as Dante Caruso's official negotiator. The look on Marco's face was everything. "What is this?" he demanded. "A negotiation." She sat at the head of the table. "Mr. Caruso sends his regards." "You were supposed to be humiliated." "I was, by you, for years." She slid contracts across the table. "These are the terms for port territory. I negotiated them personally. They're more than fair considering you used me to insult a man who doesn't forget disrespect." Marco grabbed the contract, read it. His face went red. "These terms are generous. I convinced him not to start a war. You're welcome." Another uncle laughed. "Since when do you convince anyone of anything?" "Since Dante Caruso decided I was worth teaching." The door opened. Dante walked in. Every man stood, except Valentina. She just smiled. "Gentlemen?" Dante's voice was cold. "Ms. Romano asked you a question. Are you accepting these terms?" Marco's jaw worked. "These numbers were calculated by your niece, who, it turns out, is exceptionally skilled at finding profitable compromises." Dante's hand settled on Valentina's shoulder. "I suggest you don't insult her work." The threat was clear. Marco looked between them. "At the contract, we accept." "Excellent!" Dante's hand squeezed her shoulder. "Valentina will handle implementation. She has my full authority, which means disrespecting her is disrespecting me." He bent down, whispered in her ear loud enough for everyone to hear. "You were perfect." Then kissed her temple, in front of everyone, claiming her. The room went silent. Dante straightened, looked at Marco. "You sent her as a joke. I'm sending her back as a warning." His smile was cold. "The next time you underestimate someone I value, there won't be generous terms. There will be consequences." He offered Valentina his hand. She took it and walked out. A queen. In the car, she turned to him. "You called me perfect." "You were. You kissed me in front of them." "I did." "Why?" He pulled her into his arms. "Because watching you dismantle your uncle's assumptions while maintaining perfect composure was the most attractive thing I've ever witnessed." She laughed. "That's what did it for you? Competence?" "Competence. Courage. The way you didn't break even when I was trying to make you." His hand cupped her face. "I'm sorry." "For what?" "For the last 3 weeks, for being cold, for testing you when I should have just..." He stopped. "Should have what?" Should have told you I was falling in love with you from the moment you told me the truth. Her breath stopped. You what? I'm in love with you, Valentina. Have been since that first meeting, but I needed to know you could handle this world before His forehead touched hers. Before I made you a target by being seen with you. So you pushed me away. I pushed you to become someone they can't dismiss. So when I claim you publicly, no one can say you didn't earn your place. She kissed him, hard, desperate. I love you too, she whispered. Even though you're an asshole who played psychological games with me for 3 weeks. He smiled against her mouth. I'll spend the rest of my life making it up to you. Promise? I promise. The engagement announcement made headlines. Dante Caruso and Valentina Romano. Her family showed up at the engagement party, respectful, polite, scared, because the woman they'd sent as a joke now controlled half their port operations. And the man they'd tried to insult had made sure everyone knew. She wasn't a punchline, she was untouchable. At the party, Dante pulled her onto the terrace. Tired of smiling? Tired of watching my uncles pretend they always respected me? He laughed, pulled her close. They fear you now. There's a difference. Is that better? Much better. Fear lasts, respect can fade. He kissed her. But love is permanent. She looked up at him. You turned me into a warning. No. His hand cupped her face. I just gave you the power to show them what you always were. They turned themselves into a cautionary tale by being too blind to see it. She kissed him. Soft, grateful. Thank you. For what? For seeing me when I was sent as a joke. His arms tightened around her. Valentina, you were never a joke. You were always a queen. He kissed her under the stars, and she finally believed him. They sent her because of her body, because they thought it would be funny, because they wanted to insult Dante Caruso, and she was the punchline. She walked into that room knowing exactly what she was. Disposable, forgettable, an embarrassment. What they didn't know, what they couldn't have known, was that Dante Caruso doesn't see jokes when he looks at people. He sees value, and he saw hers immediately, not in spite of what they mocked her for, just saw her. The intelligence they'd dismissed, the courage they'd overlooked, the strength they'd never bothered to test. So he gave her power, not gently, not easily. He tested her, pushed her, made her prove to herself what he already knew, that she was capable of more than anyone had ever allowed her to be. And when she walked back into that room 3 months later, not as a joke, but as his equal, her family finally understood. They hadn't sent an insult. They'd sent their best player and lost her to someone who actually valued her. The most dangerous thing you can do is underestimate someone, because eventually they might find someone who doesn't. And when that happens, you don't just lose them. You create a warning for everyone else. They sent her as a joke. He turned her into a warning, and she became a queen. Full stories like this, only on MIDVEIL.